I am your host. I am a Polish immigrant with a big heart, strong accent, as you can hear, kick-ass husband, and two beautiful kids. In today's episode, welcome to the Eva Eckert Show, episode number 5. I am Eva Eckert. I am your host. I am a Polish immigrant with a big heart, strong accent, as you can hear, kick-ass husband, and two beautiful kids. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to work on yourself, how important it is to take the time to create the time for the personal development, to review, reflect, and plan. What is this show all about, guys? I am an American entrepreneur sharing an incredible mission to inspire women around the world to follow their passions, their dream. So finally, their life can become more fulfilled and inspired and meaningful. I believe that the baddest superhero is inside all of you, all of us, and you should share it with the world. That your unique passion and purpose is something very individual for every and single one of you. This show will finally help you discover the self-discipline, self-motivation, and self-belief so you can stop making the excuses and create the life you truly desire and deserve by being the upgraded version of you. Welcome to the show, guys. And always remember, have a water handy, because I constantly drink water and I strongly recommend for you to do the same. So don't mind me. Yes, I'm sipping on the water. For those of you who are actually watching this show on YouTube, you can see me. For those of you who just listening, maybe you driving a car, maybe you cooking like I'm cooking, I'm listening to the podcast. That's what I'm doing in those little breaks. So please keep your water handy. So if you guys watch the previous episodes, I was talking about the LBBD method of living, breathing, be obsessed, and never giving up your mission, your dream, right? Because life can be your dream. Life can be a beautiful dream. It all starts with single thought, like Napoleon Hill said, right? So it all makes sense when you're listening to those episodes. So what happens is, in the last episode, you know that I got the ticket to America. I bought the ticket. I spent my life savings. And here I am on that plane flying to America. And I have to tell you, the moment that I was sitting on the plane, it really hit me what I actually did. I'm like, I made these decisions. Here I am. So I remember I was sitting next to some young American kid. I don't remember how old he was, but he was very young, and he was actually creating these beautiful paintings. And we were talking about his job, and I was sipping on the wine. And when I landed on the airport, I remember JFK for the first time, and the family picked me up. I realized, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. I am completely on my own. And I think that's why I spent the time drinking on that plane. I almost was trying to covering up the fact that I'm completely scared that whatever I was dreaming about, this became a reality, and I am in this horrible state of being completely frightened and scared. So look how life really is, right? We want something so badly, we go for it, and then this opportunity is right there, and you're completely scared. What do you do then, right? Well, I had no other choice but to go with it, right? I only came here with intention for 2 months, right? 3 months. So I'm working for them. This family has 2 young kids. I think the girls were 9 and 13. There is a single mom. I don't need to give you more details, but they were, a nice family, but I couldn't fit in. Why? Because kind of I brought the baggage from myself, from how I was raised. So here's the difference. Like Polish customs, Polish traditions, me coming here to America, not knowing anything about America other than really reading from those books, learning English, trying to communicate English with Americans. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a completely 2 different worlds. And I thought, and it was funny because people in the beginning were making fun of me the way how I was speaking. It's like, we are in America. We do not speak English here. This is a melting pot. This is really a combination of really so many languages. And so I remember people making fun of me, and I was trying so hard to fit in. But for some reason, I couldn't. So what happens is, I take this job and I'm working with the family, but I am not being really responsible. I would say I was not really responsible. I was not showing up. Now that I'm looking from a perspective, the way how I wanted to. I was a young kid. I was 20 years old, and my goal was to just make money so I can come home and invest. That was my ultimate goal. But if you showing up just to make money, and you're really not loving what you're doing, you won't do this job well. So I remember the way how I was acting, I was pretty much like, all right, they needed me to clean something in the house, I would clean the house. I would make them breakfast. I wouldn't even take them to school, I remember, because the school bus would take them, or the kids were dropped off by their mom. And I was just trying to do all these different things to avoid any kind of confrontation, any kind of even speaking, because I had a trouble communicating. Because when people start making fun out of you for the way how you communicate, you kind of shutting down. And that's what happened to me. So here I am. That was my dream to come. I studied English. I am in America, and everything is start working against me. I am not feeling it. I am kind of struggling because at that time, there was no cell phones. There were only pay phones. And I remember pagers. People had pagers, and there were just regular phones at home. So I am finding out the group of babysitters. One was, I remember living across the street, and she was from Hungary, and she was with this family for many, many months. I connect with her, and she's teaching me that there is a phone card that you can buy. You can use regular phone from the house. You just need to dial that numbers. You need to scratch that little number and dial the number, and that's how you can call Poland. So I'm so thrilled because I haven't talked to my family for like 2 or 3 weeks. I only called when I landed that I'm okay, and that was it. Can you imagine like how they must have been petrified? Like, what is happening? Where's my daughter, right? I went to a strange family, literally strange family. So I remember calling them and spending literally a full hour talking with them. And I miss them at that point. I miss them because I'm totally on my own, and I feel like I am not fitting in. And I miss my family. I am really not feeling this job, and the communication is off. So then this girl that actually connected me with this family, she's flying to the same city. We live literally 10 minutes away from each other. So this is a good point. So she comes over, I think like a month later than me. So finally I have somebody that I can connect with, that I can talk with, so we spend some weekends together. We go out together. We travel together. I remember going so many times to New York City, taking other friends, meeting friends. This whole idea of America starts kind of being put together, and I start enjoying myself. But I don't like going home because there is no connection there. There's some kind of always like just not good vibe. I don't know. It's not a good vibe. But today, I didn't know then, but today I know. Because again, I am there for one mission, to make money. And I am just, I'm doing these things. I'm trying to be good, but it's just not showing up the way how I want it, because I am not being myself. Because the communication is off. When communication is off, right? When you cannot purely communicate yourself to the world, you start being awkward and weird. And I think that's what was the problem. I couldn't be myself with them. So imagine this crazy moment. After, I think it was almost the end of my 3rd month, or maybe 2.5 months, I remember standing in the kitchen like today and talking to my family. And this 13-year-old raises her hand with the huge ass knife and says, "I am going to kill you." That was the last moment that I really was in this house. I literally packed my things, and when their mother came home, I said goodbye. That was it. Why she did it? I don't know till this day. I just know that what I am reflecting on and what I am thinking about today, I'm thinking these kids did not want to have any babysitter. They did not want to have a person in a house maybe they couldn't connect with, and that's where that also was a single mom. There was the father wasn't in a picture as much. So there was a lot of behind the scenes situations. There was a lot of hidden problems, and who knows what else. But I just know that I can no longer stay in this house, right? So I moved out. But the point is of this whole story that because I was in a position of being a babysitter, that's the job that I wanted to have, a babysitter, a person that takes care of the kids. Today, I have such a respect for them. And when we were hiring our babysitters for our kids, I have such a respect for these people, especially that they come from other countries, especially for the immigrants, especially for people that work hard, for even our cleaning lady, because I believe that these people come like me. I always think like, okay, this is how I showed up. And many times I wasn't treated like a human. I wasn't treated like an equal person. So that's why I have such a respect. And it wasn't just me, because we had these conversations with other babysitters, with other, people that were doing these jobs. A lot of times they felt like they were not treated right. The family would take you in from another country, and you had to work and do these. They would not give you enough freedom. They would not give you enough space, and that's something that a lot of times it's not really being mentioned or talked about. So today, when I reflect on this and I look at this, I'm thinking, I have such a respect for these people, because they're coming, they're trying to make money. And obviously you want to match the best position of a babysitter for your kids, because this is a responsible position, right? And when I'm thinking back then, these kids really didn't need me there. They completely didn't need me. They were 13 and 9-year-old. So, but that's besides the point. It's like that, creating and respecting people for who they are, that we all equal, no matter what jobs we do, where we coming from, and that there is no one really there to make you feel inadequate. But for some reason, I felt like this. I almost even put myself in a position that I'm just here to work, and I just gonna keep it quiet like that little mouse. I'm just gonna be there and listen to what you tell me. So this wasn't, overall from one thing, I went to the next, and I really, that was an ideal situation for me, knowing my situation, that I grew up without the father, that also was broken, like a household without the father. So there were all these insecurities, and here I am with a similar household, and these things are kind of being stirred up in me, right? So that wasn't the ideal situation. So here we are, how we create those dreams, but we just don't know what's beyond the dreams. What else is there? So today, when I reflect, I'm thinking, okay, what I'm doing today we run the Operate to Dominate, which is the one-on-one coaching program, group coaching program for people. And we spend the time on that self-work, self-reflection. How are we showing up every day in the world? What are the lessons from today's day, how I want to show up today, what are the victories, what will make me happy, how I will connect with my people today, with my family, with my daughter, with my husband. Those are the important factors for me that I need to include in my self-reflection, right? What is the 5% that I'm going to be working on as an entrepreneur, but also as a mom? I need to have these different modules and these different subjects that will make my day. And when I reflect back then, I wish I would have had a mentor. I wish I would have someone that would tell me, you need to work on yourself. You need to spend the time on personal development. You need to understand if you're making some mistakes, so you can not repeat them the next day, right? Also, be responsible for your actions, because back then I was not really taking as much responsibility for my action. I was just going with the flow, and that wasn't the best idea. So whatever you do, be responsible, take an ownership of your decisions. And confidence is like a muscle. Like the way how I was showing up, it wasn't confident me. Because I was in such a new situation. And here it is, like we are always in these new situations. We're creating those new situations. All the opportunities present themselves, and we jump into these different situations that we've never experienced. And confidence for me is like a muscle. You need to do the reps, right? When you go to the gym and you lift that weights, you like simple, a lot of times we just showing like, okay, we're working on the bicep curl. In order for the bicep to actually show the definition, you need to do the reps, right? For the body to start being fit and toned, you need to do the reps. And this is the same like confidence. You need to do these reps, and you need to show up and repeat certain things so you become more confident. Think about like this show. This show, it's just episode 5. And because all these times I was recording video, or when I record a video, or when I am doing the Russian and the Freak with my husband, we have a dialogue. It's a little bit different dynamic than actually just talking to the mic and just talking to the camera, so you guys can see me and hear me. It's just a little bit different. So I want you to imagine that confidence is like a muscle. You need reps here. It's a growing factor. Each time you're gonna show up, you're gonna make yourself a little bit better. Even a recent situation, like I was hiring the gut coach, or I hired the coach that actually does these fitness competitions, because I wanted to have a certain results. I wanted to achieve something. And when I first started the program of healing my gut or training my legs, there was something completely different for me, and I didn't even know how to bite it. But more and more I was engaging in the system, the tools, more and more I was becoming confident. More and more I would go and repeat the certain things throughout the day so I can heal my gut. More and more I became confident, right? It's the repetition of certain things, the discipline that is involved here. It all makes sense. And every dream, guys, has obstacles. Every single dream. That you need to understand that the water is never going to be flat for a long time. Like the ocean. The ocean has waves. Then the water might be flat. No matter what are you gonna dream about, you're gonna be standing in front of that obstacle once in a while. that you're gonna face something that it's difficult. And for me, that it was, because when you create the dream, we don't think about the negative. We only think about the positive. It's usually in these beautiful colors that we dream of, like, or we create, okay, I want this beautiful house, or I want this beautiful car, or I want to go on this beautiful vacation. But we don't allow our dreams to have something negative. Think about it, right? So we don't think beyond that point, but that's what it is. Life has obstacles, and we need to figure it out, and we need to find a way to resolve things. And for me, that's what it was. The dream started showing the obstacles that I was on my own, and how can I figure it out? Do you have a group of peers that you can rely on, like these mentors? For me, these people, the first people that I've met, they were like the other babysitter from other countries. And it was amazing to think of mentors, but that's what they were, because they've been there for a while. So they could teach me and show me steps, what I should do, what I should avoid, like things that I should see and go. And that can be a mentor to you. I also found an amazing person that was also here and there hiring me as a babysitter. And what a different household that were. Until this day, we keep in touch because we created the bond. We created something very special. And you know why? Let me tell you, because she came from another country. She started a family after coming, I think, from Venezuela, if I'm not mistaken. And so she was an immigrant. So we kind of were on the same vibe frequency. I think she understood, we were speaking with an accent, and that's where was the connection. So now realize we make these connections with people because there is something that is similar, or we relate to this person. It's like, okay, it clicks, right? It clicks. There is some kind of similar ground, similar factor. And today when I'm thinking, wow, I'm like, I have 2 kids and she has 2 kids. Well, that her boys are already grown, but it's such a beautiful thing because we connected. And sometimes I wonder, would I be able to connect with this person that I first started with the job with? Her kids must be like probably coming to almost 25, 24 years old, a little bit even older. It's crazy. They probably have their own kids. She might be even a grandma. So when we go that far, it's kind of cool to hear that and see that. And I think I would connect with them on a better level. And do you know why? Because I know myself more. I know who I am. I know what I stand for. I know what I would not take it in. I would know what my boundaries are. I know what my communication is. And here comes another lesson, setting up boundaries. When I first came, I really did not understand the boundaries. Nobody never told me that, and I never even thought about this. But the boundaries are so important. What we allow, what we don't. And if I was clear, if I didn't feel insecure about my language, I would probably have a chance to communicate better and describe myself. Okay, this is what it's allowed, this is what it's not, right? Every change brings growth. And what I mean by that, because I was on my own, completely in a strange country, I had to grow up. That's what it was. It took me a while. It wasn't overnight. It wasn't something that just happened. I had to start being more responsible. And more, almost I was getting into trouble. More obstacles I was facing, more the life and all these different situations were teaching me, hey, you need to be better. You need to change something in your life. This is a reflection in a mirror. You gotta take responsibility. This is a stepping stone for you. So this is how I think of this and in today's world, right? And even like think about what is the growing factor for you right now. What changes are you facing right now? Maybe you're starting a different program. Maybe you just hire a mentor. Maybe there is something that is so completely out of your comfort zone, and that's what the growth is. Like me hiring the car coach, me hiring the other coach, there is a growth factor. Even the growth factor can be when I get a new client for our operate to dominate, because this is a different connection. This is a different person. Each person is treated individually, right? The same like with us stopping the schooling system. Like we took the kids out of school in November last year. So we had to learn how to operate our household in a completely different way. That was a growth factor, because the change with them being at home brought us to operate on a different level, to be more scheduled, to be more organized. And that's what the growth is. Every growth is a grief, guys. Think about it. And why I say this, because when I was alone, when I came to this country alone, I felt like half of my heart was left in Poland, even though I didn't feel that before. I was on a mission to fly. I was on a mission to come. And I never felt, I'm going to miss them so much, because I wasn't exactly in this spot. But yet when I landed and I was there on my own, that's what I faced, that grief, because you need to, in order for your dreams to be fulfilled, you need to sacrifice something. And for me, it was sacrificing like my family. My family was left there, and I was completely on my own. So think about it. You gain something, you lose something. In this case, I was here in America and my family was in Poland. So it was a sense of grieving, that loneliness. Family was so far. I was unable to communicate with them constantly because the cards were expensive. And I was like, okay, I can't spend that much money on calling. I need to save some money. But I was still very connected with them. And when I call, I would really pour in everything, and the good and the bad, pretty much everything. And guys, once you accomplish your dream, there is more. So there is not such a thing that the dream is done and there is nothing after. Like, think about it. Life is a dream. Life can be your dream. So if you accomplish something now, there is more to it. And why I'm telling you this is because I got to America after this point, and you guys gonna hear these stories more as I'm revealing how the life has changed for us, how we become successful. We open up the gym, right? We open up the second location. We started OTD, Operate to Dominate coaching for couples, for individuals, for just females. Just the other weekend, I had an amazing event called Freak Female Alliance. This event was created out of a single thought, out of a single dream. So I'm inspiring you today to create those dreams, because your dreams become a reality, but you need to be connected on a very high emotional frequency, emotional level, so no one and nothing can take you away from this dream. That was me. And when you see this, that you will recognize this with inside you. There is that sense of urgency, sense of passion, sense of grind and desire, the internal burning desire, like a fireplace that will be like, this is it. But along this journey towards that dream, like when I had the Freak Female Alliance, there were so many different emotions, like who's gonna sign up, how many people gonna sign up, will I have any people? And this all is a part of the journey, and we need to enjoy it and think that even if we start small, there is a start, as long as you start. So really feel the gratitude, feel happy for what you achieve, and remember that there is always more, that life is never ending journey, that life is never ending dream. So with this said, thank you guys so much for journeying this episode number 5.